What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Unhinged Live. As usual, I'm your host, Patrick Hensey, joined today for the Yankees postgame by the man. Usually he's Jay Lonzo, but for the second straight day, he's walk-off Lonzo. How we doing, Jalen?
Doing good. It's walk-off Lonzo. It's Mother's Day Lonzo. Second straight walk-off, man. I feel good.
You look dapper today, Jalen. You look dapper.
I appreciate
That's the only way I could describe you. But listen, before we get into the Yankees' second straight walk-off victory, shout out to everybody currently in the chat. Let's take attendance/roll call. You guys know the deal. Shout out to Lori, Daniel, Steven, Ed King, Steven Salazar, Daniel, William, Damian, Yankee fan for life, Anthony, Jamie, that Apple, Mike Prince. We got Ryan, Jaden. We got Stevie Bats, Dirtbike Nation, Ruben, Wolfie Lord, Jesus, Hater, CJ, Andrew. Sorry if I missed anybody. Hope everyone enjoyed the game today. Jalen, quite the game for the second day in a row. Let's start things off kind of by going over the scoring that happened today. Bottom of the third, Aaron Hicks had an RBI single. Bottom of the sixth, Gleyber Torres with a solo shot, first of the year. Shout out to him. I'm pretty sure you predicted that yesterday, right?
I did predict it yesterday. I'm glad to see Gleyber, prove that I am the wizard that I say I am. And yeah, I think we're going to start to see Gleyber really heat up in these next couple of weeks. I think as the weather starts to get a little warmer, I think he's getting a lot more comfortable in the box. And I think we've kind of been seeing some at-bats that have foreshadowed this first home run. So I'm glad he finally got it out the way.
I like that word, foreshadowed. Good stuff. But yeah, top of the seventh, Kyle Schwarber kind of tied everything all up with a 2-run shot of his own. And then bottom of the ninth, Giancarlo Stanton comes in, I guess kind of breaks a little bit of a cold streak that he was already on. And he had his game-winning single that gave the Yankees the win. And to be honest, like that should have never happened simply because that's unacceptable for Brad Hand to be walking Tyler Wade as the leadoff man on 4 pitches when he's just trying to bunt. Like, unexcusable.
If Brad Hand was a New York Yankee and that happened like on the opposite side, or if we were Nationals fans, I guess you could say, to make it easier, I would be so pissed. And it's crazy because Brad Hand's been pretty lights out this year, and it just seems like he can't get it done against the Yankees. Like, we always seem to produce against him. But I'll take it. You want to walk Tyler?
You
just miss anything
out for a second? Yeah, like the last half.
Okay, I'm gonna you take over for like 5 minutes. I'll come right back.
Yeah, go for it, Jalen. So chat, let's get back into this here. Shout out to Alex with the $2 dono. Appreciate you, my man. Another series win. We're now 7-3 in our last 10 games. Love to see that. The Yankees have kind of rebounded from a little skid that they were on pretty nicely, because these were 2 games that could have been a toss-up in either direction. They kind of came out and pulled it out very well. But I do want to pull up the box score really quickly because I want to talk about the Yankees pitching performance from today, right? Let me just zoom out a little bit so you guys won't be too zoomed in. Let me pull it up. So yeah, the Yankees pitching performance today. Domingo Germán pitched very well up until the Kyle Schwarber shot that kind of tied the game up in the 7th. But yeah, Domingo Germán, 6 1/3, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, 6 Ks. Lowered his ERA this season to 4.02. Listen, I know we're huge critics of Domingo Germán, but I really do think that he's kind of rebounded nicely from those first few starts. I feel like ever since he came back, after they sent him down from the alternate site, I think ever since he's come back, he's looked like a more confident pitcher on the mound and just get things done more efficiently. But let me welcome Jalen back here really quickly. He's now Mother's Day Lonzo. How are we doing, Mother's Day Lonzo?
I'm back. I'm on my phone just to be safe. I don't know what's going on my computer, but am I coming through good now?
No, yeah, you're good now. It's just so weird because before we went live, like you were perfect, and then it seemed like right when we went live, it was just whatever. But we're kind of talking about Germán. I think he looked pretty impressive today. It was kind of just like a typical Germán start, right? I mean, but without the Schwarber home run, he looked fantastic.
I think I would go beyond that. I think it was better than a typical Germán start. I think he looked lights out for most of the game. And even that last pitch to Schwarber, I think it was a mistake because he missed his spot, but it wasn't a cookie right down the middle. Schwarber was hunting fastball, and I think they probably should have went off speed to Schwarber in that situation. So yeah, it was a mistake, but look, if we can get almost 7 innings. And I think if he would have got through that inning, he probably could have went through 8
Oh
of
yeah.
Herman, like shutout ball. I'll take it every single time. And the
Yeah.
Nationals, we've seen they're a good lineup, so I'll take that out of
Yeah, he had a
Herman.
pretty low pitch count too, so I definitely agree. But listen, shout out to Alex for the $5 dono. Appreciate you, Alex. You are the man. Round of applause to you. The Yankees own Brad Hand. He allowed a go-ahead single to DJ LeMahieu last year. The Yankees own Brad Hand. I saw someone in the chat mention earlier. He's essentially like the David Price of closers for us.
Yeah.
Every time we face him, I'm just so confident that the game's over, but in our direction.
Yeah, it's very weird because he's a great closer, and it doesn't make sense. I think we talked about in the offseason if we could add Brad Hand, like because he was not re-signed by, or they didn't, the Indians didn't pick up his club option.
Yeah.
And we were like, why not add Brad Hand? And I guess the Yankees are like, why would we add him if we can just beat up on him against other teams?
Yeah,
So,
literally.
I mean, listen, I was pretty confident going into that 9th inning, even with Tyler Wade leading off.
Yeah, same. But listen, after Herman came out, the Yankees bullpen just did their job as usual. Michael King came in for an inning and a third, 2 hits, no earned runs. I mean, obviously not Michael King. But Wandy Peralta came in for an out, clean out. And then Aroldis Chapman, clean inning of work, gave up a hit to Starlin Castro, but that was really it. Chapman has continued looking untouchable so far this season. And honestly, I think it's kind of promising to see how the Yankees bullpen has rebounded from that kind of shaky 2 games that they had a couple days ago. But yeah, I mean, overall, the pitching was solid. I think the key of this whole series was that other than like that first game where the bullpen completely imploded, the Yankees pitching has kept them in every single one of these games when the offense has kind of been lifeless.
Yeah, I mean, even the first game, all 3 of these games were pitchers duels up until I think it was like the 8th inning in the first game. And then these 2 games, we obviously go to extras yesterday, and Max Scherzer and Corey Kluber both of them had amazing outings. Obviously, Scherzer was like ridiculous, but Corey Kluber pitched really well into the 6th inning. And then today, Herman basically gave up no runs until that Schwarber home run, and Ross for the Nationals pitched pretty well too. Only gave up those 2
Yeah.
runs, and it wasn't like we were on him the whole game and like just happened to get 2 runs. Like he looked pretty solid. So yeah, I think these are the types of series that when you win these series, it feels a lot better than when you lose them, because if you pitch well enough to win 2 out of 3 or even sweep a series and you don't come up with at least 2 wins, it's really discouraging. So I'm really glad that we're on this side of things rather than losing the series.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like it's just so great to see finally the Yankees coming in clutch. Like these past
Yeah.
2 games, I feel like they've just come in clutch. And the best part about today, honestly, was the fact that they didn't have to play extra innings.
Oh,
Like the
goodness.
fact that they could just walk it off in the 9th, and we didn't have to go to the top of the 10th with who knows who on the mound, and then having to deal with the runner on second and all that nonsense after that. It was just great to see them kind of put things together in the 9th. And after that Tyler Wade walk, you kind of knew that it was set in stone. Like there's no way they were losing this game, especially if Tyler Wade walks to lead it off. But I do want to pull up the Yankees hitting box score real quick, just because if you look like up and down, no one really provided any sort of like outstanding performance. But obviously the one guy you would want to look at is Giancarlo Stanton, right? Just because he has had like a couple of rough games after the how many games with a hitting streak? 12?
12 games, yeah.
12-game hitting streak. And then obviously comes up clutch today with the walk-off single. Never a doubt in my mind that Giancarlo was going to walk it off there. But he also had the 2 walks. I think he looked very comfortable at the plate today. I know he had some of those really bad swings that we're used to seeing from him sometimes. But I think overall, like he's still, I don't want to say he's as hot as he was, but I think he's still comfortable at the plate.
Yeah, I'm not, like I said, when a guy is as hot as he was, 2 games where he doesn't get a hit looks like, the world is coming to an end. And like we always say with Stanton, when he doesn't look good, it looks way worse than it actually is, just because of the
Yeah.
type of swing that he has and the type of approach that he has. So I was never really worried about Stanton these past couple games, or I think it was 2. Was it 2 games that he went without a hit, or 3? I'm not really
I think
sure.
it was 2. I think it
Yeah,
was
but
2.
he didn't get a hit the first 2 national games. But yeah, I think he still looks locked in. He's hitting the ball hard. He hit the ball hard in Friday night's game, even though he came up empty. I think he like lined out to left field. It was like an extremely hard hit ball. So I wasn't really worried, and I think this was a great situation for him to, if he did lose any confidence after not getting 2 hits, because I think even when a guy goes 12 games hitting the ball as hard as he did, all those home runs, racking up RBIs, going the other way, beating the shift, all those things are encouraging. And then you go 2 games and you come up empty. It almost is like, damn, like was that just like a random stretch? So if he did lose any confidence, I think today's at bat in a big moment was the perfect opportunity for him to regain some of that. And he hit, that ball that he hit foul. I think I kind of knew it was foul right off the bat. But once he hit that, I was like, okay, he's fine. Like he's
Yeah.
okay. Turned on that, hit it 110, I think, miles an hour, and I knew he was fine. So still love Stanton. He's gonna have a huge year.
Yeah, I mean, listen, something else we could kind of take away from today's game is from Stanton's like big man counterpart, Aaron Judge. He sat today because Boone said he was dealing with lower leg stuff. I don't know why Boone can't just say that they're giving Judge an off day. But I think it's kind of important that we saw him come in as a pinch hitter. So obviously, whatever he is dealing with isn't too significant. And I guess he's healthy for the most part. He's just going through a slump. But I think tomorrow's off day is huge for the Yankees in general, just because I know that they do have the momentum going into Tampa now, but now they could kind of just let it all sink in, right? Kind of like the clutchness of these past 2 days. And then coming back on Tuesday, you're expecting to get Voit and Urshela back. So that kind of changes the perspective of the clubhouse entirely. Luke Voit hit another home run today in Scranton. Jalen, I'm going to be honest with you. I cannot wait for this man to return on Tuesday. Like, I feel like this is just kind of, I don't want to say it's the same thing as A-Rod coming back in 2009, but it's probably the closest thing that we could get to it.
Bro, this is like I don't know what I can compare it to. All I know is that I think when Luke this is my hot take, I guess.
Go for it.
When Luke Voigt comes back, he is going to tear it, like absolutely tear it up. And I really do believe that. I think he's going to come out, hit the floor running, or hit the ground running. I think whichever one you want to use.
Same thing.
But yeah, I think he's going to come back and just absolutely light it up. I'm pretty sure. I know a lot of people are debating whether it should be Gio or Voigt in the 4 spot, but I think they're going to slot him right there in the 4 spot. I guess it depends if Gio's back that first game. We'll see. But
do you think he will be? Because I think so.
I think Gio will be back for the first game. Yeah, on Tuesday. I think the fact that maybe if there was no off day and the game was tomorrow, maybe not. But because of the off day, I think he'll be fine for Tuesday. But yeah, either way, whatever you want to do, put Voit at 4, put Voit at 5. The lineup just lengthens so much. I know Odor is going to be back soon. I think he's due to come back on the 15th. At least be eligible to be off the IL. And that'll be huge because we won't have to see Tyler Wade anymore. I think when Voit comes back, it'll probably be Mike Ford that gets sent down. And then when Odor comes back, it'll be Tyler Wade. So we're slowly getting rid of the people that we don't want on this roster anymore.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I can't say enough good things about Luke Voit. I think even you mentioned like when he returns, you think he's going to tear it up. I'm thinking even if he doesn't necessarily tear it up when he first comes back, I think just having his presence in that clubhouse and in the lineup in general just changes the entire philosophy of even the opposing pitchers going up against this lineup, because rather than looking at like Aaron Hicks in that 4-hole, for example, that's not to discredit Aaron Hicks, but I mean, it's a completely different approach. Kind of like, I know you mentioned you think that they're going to go with Voit in that 4-hole, but I think you know where I stand. I think Gio is the perfect guy for that 4-hole. And then have Voit 5, just because I think Gio is like the perfect separator between Judge and Voit. Does that make sense?
No, yeah, that's completely fair. I think it could honestly, I think it could work either way. I love the idea of Judge's protection being Luke Voit. And then if you want to pitch to Luke Voit because you think Gio is good enough protection, and that's fine. Or you can pitch around Luke Voit, and then Gio gets a lot of pitches to hit. Like it can go either way. All I know is whatever order that they put them in, it's so much of a deeper lineup with both of those guys back in, but especially Luke Voit towards the middle of that lineup. And you just really it's really like pick your poison, especially with Stanton as he is. You get Judge back going. You've seen some encouraging things with him. He got a hit last night's game, even though it was a little blooper. Those matter. So
still counts.
So the fact that he's putting the ball in play again rather than going 0 for 7 with 7 strikeouts, it's trending in the right direction. And then Luke Voit in that lineup is just gonna look so nice. Like it's gonna feel so good.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question about another guy, Jalen. I think you might know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Gary Sanchez.
Yeah.
0 for 3 today. It's so disappointing because we say this so often, especially with Kyle Higashioka kind of solidifying himself as kind of the Yankees starting catcher at this point, based on his relationship with Cole, with Kluber, even his offensive performance too. Um, we kind of mentioned how if Gary Sanchez wants that starting job back, he's gonna have to absolutely rake when he does get the opportunities. And today was kind of one of those days where we're like, look, maybe Gary has like a coming out party, kind of proves himself as the starting catcher. He went 0 for 3 with 3 Ks and a walk.
Yeah.
Definitely not the performance that Gary needs if he wants to earn back his starting catcher spot. But I think as the days go by, and we're only kind of in the beginning of May, it's crazy to say that as these days continue to go by, we're going to start seeing less and less of Gary Sanchez.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because we know how talented he is. But listen, that's Major League Baseball. If you don't perform, it's going to be the guy who's right next to you who's ready to perform, and Kyle Gashioka has performed. So,
Yeah.
I don't, it's you feel bad a little bit because you think of how promising his career seemed to be when he first got here in 2016. And I don't think this is the end of Gary Sanchez by any stretch. I don't think this means he's going to be out of the major leagues. I don't think this means he's even done with the Yankees. Um, but I don't think this is the year where we're going to see going into this year, we kind of all thought maybe Gary is going to turn it around. He's going to prove that he's the starting catcher going forward, at least until his contract is up. But no, I mean Kyle Higashioka has been better in pretty much every sense, aside from like throwing runners out. Gary obviously has a cannon, but aside from that, it's been Higgy, um, and that doesn't mean Higgy is like miles better than Gary either. I think Higgy has his issues as well. I talk about it all the time. I love Higgy, but he drops balls too much trying to frame, and sometimes it costs the Yankees strikes. So there's things that both of them have to work out. Neither of them are perfect products, but Higgy has just been better. And if the pitchers are more comfortable with Higgy, I'm going with Higgy every single time. But I kind of like how Boone's handling it right now, as far as not making exposing Gary is like he lost his starting job. Just no, they're kind of splitting it 50-50 right now, which I'm cool with. And
Yeah.
it's not like Gary's incapable of being a starting catcher. So Herman pitched really well today with Gary. I'm sure he's pitched pretty well with Higgy back there as well. If you at least have Higgy back there with Kluber and Cole locked in no matter what, and the rest is kind of a toss up based on like scheduling and circumstance, I'm fine with that, at least
Yeah.
for the rest
I would
of
have to
this
agree.
year.
Yeah. But listen, shout out to Lori C with the $5 dono. Appreciate you, Lori. Shout out to you. But just keep winning series 2 out of 3 at the dump. Now, if the Yankees could take 2 out of 3 from the Rays, I will be ecstatic. It's kind of the same mentality I had going into the Astros series, right? At least take 2 out of 3. I mean, obviously a sweep is ideal, but just win the series and kind of just leave Tampa with some sort of momentum against that team, because they've owned us so much in the past 2 seasons. Just win a series in their ballpark and kind of just send a message to them that like you don't own us anymore. You know what I mean?
That would be winning a series against Tampa, as crazy as this feels to say.
Especially
Just
in Tropicana.
yeah, that would just be such a relief off of the Yankees' shoulders. And I honestly it's been so bad over the past year and a half that it just feels like we're not capable of doing that. We're not capable of beating them, especially in their own ballpark. So if we can get that done, if we can take 2 out of 3, or fingers crossed, sweep them in their park, now would be the time to set that tone early going forward, because you still play this team a lot more throughout the rest of this year, and you want to have confidence that I don't care if we're playing you in your ballpark and our ballpark, we can beat this team.
Yeah.
And that's going to weigh heavy because you might see this team in the playoffs. You might see them in the wild card. You might see them in important games during a divisional race. So you want to prove to yourself that you can beat this team. And I think it's the perfect storm. The fact that we're getting Luke Voigt back. I'm not sure who's pitching in this series, but I'm pretty confident that Garrett Cole is going to be on the mound in one of these games. I think it'll probably be like Monty, Cole, and Tyone. Is that
Yeah,
probably
you
what we're
actually,
going?
you got it perfectly. I was just looking it up.
Yeah,
So first game's Monty, then Cole, and then Tyone's wrapping up the series. So
yeah.
yeah, I
So
mean,
I'm
listen, I'm kind
confident.
of confident. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I would prefer like Monty, Cole, Kluber, but it's like I'll take Tyone. I'll take Tyone. Not gonna complain.
Sure. He's
But
looked good. He's looked good in his last few starts.
no,
Also, the
yeah,
Rays are not it's funny because the Rays are, I think they have either the same record as us or like one more loss or something like that. It's pretty much identical. And they're not really like super hot as we would think. Like the Red Sox are playing really well as of recent, but the Rays are kind of like right around where we are, and they got up to a really pretty bad start as well. So
Yeah.
hopefully we catch them at the right time and we can just get this thing going in the right direction.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, Jalen. How are we feeling about Clint Frazier? Because I know, like, listen, he got off to such a really bad start to the season. He started to come around a little bit last week, but now it just seems like he still can't get anything together. And it's kind of coming to a point in the season where it's like, I don't know if he could still hit 35 home runs like we predicted. I definitely don't think he could end up being an all-star, like we predicted as well. But at what point, like, do we keep waiting on him to kind of burst out of his shell before like the team just gives up?
Well, before the team gives up, I'm not sure they will. I
You
think
think no
what
matter what, he's their left fielder the rest of the season?
Well, no, because I don't think he's their left fielder no matter what right now. That's why I don't
That's
think they're
fair.
really giving up. I think he's already platooning, so I think they'll give him a little bit more leeway. If he was going out there every single day and stinking it up, that'd be a little bit different. Then maybe you'll see Guardy come in and like do. But they're already platooning him, so um, I don't know if they think that there's like another move to be made, especially with no like glaring left field prospect in the
Yeah.
minors. I know Florial's there, but it's not like we have the next left fielder waiting in AAA. It's not like that. So what I do think could happen if he really does keep struggling, like say through June and it's July 1st and he still is under 200 and has like less than 5 home runs and less than 30 RBIs, you could see him get sent down to the alternate site. And as frustrating as that might be, I wouldn't be opposed to that, getting him sent down. However, I think the reason why he's been off to this terrible start, and I don't want to take any blame off of him because at the end of the day he's the one that needs to execute, but he just hasn't performed. Like he hasn't performed. But I do think the Yankees are a big reason why. Um, doing this whole platoon nonsense, not giving him consistent at bats. I think that really factors into it. So if they do end up getting to July and he's still this bad, they're gonna have a decision to make.
Yeah.
Because you can't run a guy hitting. You can't have your 5 through 9 or your 6 through 9 guys all hitting under 200. You just can't do it.
It's
So
so bad. I mean, you look at the Yankees 5 through 9 in the lineup, like today, for example, and it starts to seem like an automatic out, like every single time. And I feel like obviously, this was kind of like their C lineup in the Yankees regular lineup. They're not going to have Ford. They're not going to have Wade. So I think, like we mentioned Tuesday, once we see Voit and Urshela back, that 5 through 9 that's going to be disgusting might only turn to like an 8 and 9 hitters that are going to be disgusting. You know what I mean?
yeah, no, hopefully. And Hicks is even listen. I'm not going to speak too much about Aaron Hicks, but I'm just going to say he's looked a little bit better
He
over the
has. He's
past
no,
couple
no.
of weeks.
He's looked a lot better. I'll give him
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I'm just saying. When he finishes the season and we look back, it's like, wow, it was a pretty good season. I can't believe that we almost wanted him out of New York in the first month because he was struggling in the first month. I'm not gonna want any credit. I just want him to get the proper respect that he deserves. But yeah, no, in all seriousness, I think Aaron Hicks has looked improved. And then you probably are gonna have Rougned or Dor back in there at some point because Luke Voigt's not gonna play every single day.
Yeah.
Probably the first couple weeks. So, it'll probably be DJ Judge or DJ Stanton Judge. I'll put Gio at 4, and then Luke Voigt's 5. And then from 6 to 9, you have something to figure out. So you could either have Rougned Odor in there, Aaron Hicks in there, Clint Frazier / Brett Gardner, Higgy or Gary. Like there's a lot of different options that you can go with, but it's going to look a lot better than Mike Ford hitting 6th or 5th, Brett Gardner hitting 5th, Tyler Wade hitting it's going to look a lot better.
No, yeah, I'll take anything over Mike Ford and Tyler Wade at this point. Like,
Yeah.
no joke. But Mike Prince says this team has so many needs in this offseason. Now, here's my thing, Mike. Let's not get too deep into the offseason already. I'd like to see them focus more so on the trade deadline, right? And kind of what they're going to do to improve the team there, which I don't think they're going to be doing much. Simply
I don't
because
think there's much to do. What
Yeah.
needs are we talking about?
But that's exactly what I'm kind of addressing. Like we might say the Yankees need another left-handed bat, right? But they can't just go out and get one because they have nowhere to insert them in the lineup. Currently
Yeah.
now with Gio and Voit coming back from their injuries, the lineup is kind of set in stone. Like I think the lineup that we see on Tuesday, as long as it's at full strength, let's say Wednesday, for example, because Cole's going to be on the mound. I think that's going to be the lineup that you're probably going to see in the postseason. To
Yeah,
be completely honest with you,
I'm not unless um yeah, I don't see anywhere you have needs. I think you just need guys to start performing, which is you're starting to see. I think
I like what you did there.
yeah, no, like I really don't think there's any needs. I think the only possible like there's weaknesses currently. I think there's definitely weaknesses, but a lot of that just has to do with like guys like Clint Frazier, Aaron Hicks not performing right now. You know, first base has been we've had an injury, so obviously that's been a weakness. And with catcher, I like what we have right now because Higgy is doing his thing. Like I don't know if we expect our catcher to hit 40 home runs and 110 RBIs. Like we're not getting that. So, but
Yeah.
that's the thing. Most major league team or no major league teams have that right now. So I don't really know what our needs would be. I think we could use another starting pitcher for sure. I think you could always use more starting pitching. But if you're looking at the bullpen, we're going to get Zach Britton back soon. So there's
Yeah.
that fills another need. I'm just not really sure there's a need on
And
this
then
team right
Sevy
now.
comes back too.
Then you get
Probably
Sevy
like
back.
July. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't see any needs. I just, especially, I'm not going to look all the way to the off season because who knows what could happen from now until then. But yeah, I think this is pretty much if this unless the Yankees decide they want to go over the luxury tax and add a Max Scherzer or like a Luis, a big name starting pitcher, they could even add like a small starting pitching guy to give them depth.
Yeah.
But like I don't really see any major changes to this roster. It seems pretty set. They're just banking on the guys who haven't performed to start performing and guys to come back from injury.
No, yeah.
The only way I could see a huge shakeup is if they feel like Clint Frazier is not going to be the future left fielder, and they either send him down to AAA to try to regain some trade value and make another deal for some kind of left fielder. Maybe if the Nationals are out of it and you're trying to get Max Scherzer, maybe they don't give you Max Scherzer, but maybe you say, hey, what about Kyle Schwarber? You
Yeah.
never know. But that's really it. I don't see anything else besides that.
Yeah, and I think kind of the point you made that the Yankees have not necessarily needs, but they need guys to do better. I think that that's kind of worded perfectly because if you look at the Yankees lineup so far this season, the only guy that's really gone on a stretch where he's looked untouchable is Giancarlo Stanton, right?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Gleyber Torres is starting to come around.
Judges
Urshela
had
has
some
been consistent.
stretches.
Yeah.
Judges had some stretches early in the season as well. I know he's struggling right now, so we forget about it. But Judges had a good start to the season. Aside from this like stretch, he's looked pretty
No,
solid.
yeah.
So
Yeah. He was putting up like MVP numbers before
Yeah.
like this stretch.
Yeah.
But I would say it's kind of crazy to think about that the Yankees are what, 2 games over 500 now?
18 and 16.
Yeah, considering that, they didn't really have everyone producing at the same time just yet. So I feel like we can only improve from here as guys continue to get more comfortable in the box, continue to improve at the plate. I think we can only go up from here, and I think that's kind of the key to the rest of the season. So I wouldn't be too concerned about any guys who are currently struggling. They're going to come around eventually. It's a long season. It's not like 60 games like last year. But I'm really looking forward to this Rays series. Tomorrow is an off day, so maybe the Yankees could bathe in their momentum. I have no idea. But we will be live for an off day stream tomorrow at Unhinged time at 9 p.m. Eastern time. But yeah, that's going to wrap things up for today. Appreciate you all. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications. We're going live before and after every single Yankees game this season. You guys know the deal. The game starts at 7 o'clock on Tuesday, so we'll be live for Tuesday's pregame at 6, but we will be live tomorrow at 9. Also, recorded video going up on the channel tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern time. It's going to be a really good one, so stay tuned for that. But you guys know the deal. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe. Happy Mother's Day. Peace.